You better watch out, you better not cry, you better watch out, I'm telling you why. A certain T group took over Afghanistan at the time, mulling over attempting to monetize creative output. Also how to get through to Sherry somehow, because I need to. I should. I mean, I can't just like sign blank pages and have my ID copies taken, etc. And footage. There was footage that she took on her phone and on her smartphone. I don't know if it was an Android or an iPhone. I think it was an Android, but it could have been an iPhone. I don't know. But yes, I mean, it doesn't matter how many years pass. It's still a legal issue. It's still something that bothers me and I should resolve. But yeah, it's also an impediment to, right, because like what can I do in New York? What can I do in the US? Like, what can I do anything? Can I get any kind of legal process going for US citizenship or anything when I have to worry about the stuff that I signed on July 21st, 2012? And including blank pages, right? So, and okay, also thinking about, like trying to pitch a drama pilot for featuring autistic persons, but not in a villain role. Like, I mean, Pause, like Samina Jaz wrote a drama called Pause, and I haven't actually seen it outside of the first episode, and I got the details of it from my mother who watched it, but but I feel like this person who would regress to child voice and antisocial behaviors in the sense that, I mean, he wasn't I don't know. The point is, they vilified him, and it's just the vilification, or they vilified the father, or whatever. But the point was to make it feel like, okay, you're already socially isolated as an autistic person, let's make you even more socially isolated. And I want this drama to delve into how dyslexia and autism are not the same thing, and dyslexia is actually like a learning disability, right? Because anyway, so right, yeah. I don't know, I just had this weird dream, and yeah. Isolated isn't the right word. I mean, more like awkward, but it's just, I might be autistic. I mean, I do have a lot of autistic characteristics, and it's harder to note in girls because women are more communicative, and it's just like part of it is like a communication impediment. And we're just like yappity yap yap. So, I mean, I have a Gemini moon in the fifth house, so yakety. No, no, I just feel like it's more about being right. So I just like, I don't like being stalked. I don't like being flirted with. Like, I don't understand. It's like, okay, because is it flirtation, or is it just the other person just flattering themselves about me, and the wheedling is going to graduate to negging, and I'm not a fan of being negged. I'm not a fan of being wheedled either, because that makes me very uncomfortable. But then, when it graduates to negging, it's just really obnoxious. It's like, why? Why are you doing this? I am not an object. I am not a toy. I am not a thing for you to accumulate, or like to see as like, oh, I can possess this creature. I mean, it's a weird thing, how toxic masculinity, and it's part of society everywhere, globally, the worldwide, and it's not. I mean, it's just, yeah. So, I mean, I'm socially awkward in that stuff because I don't feel comfortable with it, and I don't think it's wrong to feel uncomfortable. It's just, it's wrong let to make the other person feel like you're not uncomfortable. Like, I mean, I think it's wrong to be dishonest about it. It's just like, I don't understand weirdos imagining I'm going to marry them just because they want to marry me. I don't get that. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, what part of me saying I'm not ready to get married, not to you or anyone, and I certainly don't see. I mean, okay, I mean, Bob's proposal yeah, that sounded like something doable, viable. He seemed to be concerned about helping me monetize my creative output. He seemed to be interested in giving me my space. He wanted us to live in separate homes in Beverly Hills. I mean, there were lots of things that, he accommodated what I needed, like what I wanted, what I needed, what I would, be comfortable with. It's like, why would I wouldn't want to marry somebody who just wants to force me into it and then four-letter R word me all the time, and it's just like, and claim that it's, and wrongly claim that it's a husband's right by Islam, and it's not a husband's right by Islam. It's like a husband is not allowed to force his wife into anything by Islam. A husband is not supposed to invade his wife's privacy. A husband is supposed to protect his wife's privacy. A wife is supposed to protect her husband's privacy. They're supposed, like, औरत मर्द का लिबास है और मर्द औरत का लिबास है. This is what it is, and it's about husbands and wives. It's not about just random women and random men being each other's clothes. I mean, for the love of God, no. Yeah, so there's, I mean, I don't have particularly high standards, but I do have a need for healthy boundaries, and it's just like, I know that, maybe I'm giving you the wrong signals because I make lots of faces, and that's another autistic thing, where, you're making facial expressions without knowing it, and the other person is interpreting that as like, as you being interested when you're not interested, or it's just like the wrong signals. I mean, a lot of communication is non-verbal, but even when it's just like, I mean, it's like, if I've said this over and over, why doesn't it like sit in your head that I'm not interested in you? And this is it's not a Pakistani thing. It's a global thing. I've had to deal with Americans who are like this. I've had to deal with the British people who are like this. I've had to deal with lots of like people of all colors, shapes, and sizes. It's men mostly, but women too. It's just like women who are just like, I'm entitled to invade your space, your personal space, and pretend that your job is to just put up with it. Let me nosedive into your face. And it's just like, I mean, it's like, I mean, you think that, the pandemic would teach people something about healthy boundaries and social distancing, but it didn't. Not a lot of people. A lot of people are just like, oh, the pandemic's an excuse for them to get close, like nosedive into a virtual stranger's face. Butt stroking or like hand grabbing, like caressing. Oh my God, it's like, why? Why do you think it's okay to get your hands on another person? It's especially when that person has made it clear that she wants healthy boundaries. Like I make that clear, and yeah, I mean, I deliberately made faces from like early adolescence, and yeah, it was because I didn't like being gawked at. Like, I don't like it when men stare at me, like boys, men, whatever you want to call them. I mean, post puberty, it's just like we're all men and women, right? So yeah, it's just yeah, it made me uncomfortable. So I made faces, and at some point I didn't realize I was making faces, and I was still making faces, and it's just but yeah, I don't think this is the case for, like, I think that's, yeah, and I have dealt with a lot of unwanted physical abuse, and it's just yeah, and it's not like I naturally would feel entirely uncomfortable with any kind of personal space invasion, but there is a reason behind it, and it's just like, I mean, I don't know why people cannot just simply be civilized in that respect. And it's just like, set boundaries. Like, I would hug people to avoid getting hugged. You know, and throughout my, like before my 20s and in my 20s and just like tweens, most of my tweens, it's just like I'm initiating hugs to avoid being, and I even like grappled people because it was just like, with Aisha, it was just like this girl, And I just literally just, because I didn't want her to hug me, I didn't want her to squeeze me. It's just like, don't, like I literally disabled her arms with my hug. It was just so forceful, and I'm sure she didn't like it. And this other person even commented on, I was like, what is going on here? But I just didn't want her to hug me. I just didn't want to be hugged. It's just but I never actually do. It's just like, but I have to initiate the hugs to avoid being hugged. And then there's yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's just like, I mean, is it autism or is it just Atypical was a good series on autism. It's like, yeah, they delved into how light touch gave the protagonist, the autistic protagonist in the series, shudders. Like, it made him feel very, very it was just horrible for him. And it's like, why was it just like, why are you brushing me? It's just like, it's just like really painful for him. And like, right, but what they did was they didn't turn him into an evil psychopath. They didn't turn him into a something else. But usually, you caricaturize, like, cartoonize people because they have autism, or and I feel like Pakistan's ready for a drama or focused around people who are autistic, and or might be autistic, like women, because women, I think a lot of Pakistani women are very awkward because on the one hand we're told that if we so much as exercise any like personal autonomy when it comes to romance, then we're sluts, and if we don't, then we're just socially awkward and chui mui whatever. It's like we're autistic basically. It is a weird thing. So this guy at Nicole, like, I don't even know his name. So he's just like, Nadia is the best looking woman here, but the खास करके belly बनती है ताकि कोई पीछे नहीं लगे. And he said it really emphatically and very angrily, and I don't even know who it was, and it's just, yeah, he was really mad at me. But but that pretty much sums it up. Shields up, like Robin Scherbatsky, shields up. But like Robin Scherbatsky, you want to look good as well. I mean, I want to look good for my own satisfaction, to feel good, to look good, to feel good. But it's not so. I don't want to invite people to invade my personal space. That's just gross. It's like, I mean, I don't even understand that. There's that slogan. The slogan, "Mera jism, meri marzi," my body, my choice, right? Like, it's just like, I mean, it offended so many people. It's like, I mean, obviously, I should have personal autonomy over my body, right? I mean, it shouldn't be somebody else's, right? I mean, it's just so stupid. I mean, the offense that people take, like men take, like toxic men take, so weird. The plans to do some breathing, yoga, meditation exercises, and instead of just like, and to wash my hair, and I didn't wash my hair. I actually put more coconut oil in my hair, and it's quite greasy, and I plan to do some yoga exercises and sit out here and breathe in some greenery, and not to wash my hair too, but I can actually put coconut oil. You held me by the heart and tied me in a string. Now I'm dangling, dangling, ling, ling. You held me by your smile, please, and caught me in the rain, and caught me in the rain. And I'm dangling, dangling, ling, ling. Salut, comment ça va? Bonjour, bonsoir. Too breathy. Too breathy. Yes. Très bien. Breathe too much.